Hey guys, welcome to Garden with Creekside, and we're here. I think by the time this video launches, it's going to be a new year, and we're all getting excited about spring of 2026 and excited about plants coming in. So you just saw me just very brief there. We're doing this prior to the new year right now, getting prepped for 2026 here in the greenhouse with some pressure washing. So believe it or not, we just shut down and we got everything cleaned out, and it's going to be ready before you know it. We'll be filling this entire greenhouse up with Mini Vista White, Mini Vista Indigo, Super Verbena, pink cashmere, and all those kind of things. And we're just going to kind of talk a little bit today just about some different things that are going on here at the garden center, and some really cool plants that you're going to want to add to your garden this year. Some of the ones I find to be my favorite. So back at the Signature Experience back in this past year in 2025, Jenny and I were up speaking, and people were asking Jenny questions, and Marshall Dirks, the Vice President of Marketing at Pre-Winners, well, I want to know Jerry's favorite plant, and everybody likes to ask me that. And it's really hard thing to answer, when you're a greenhouse grower, and a lot of the times the favorite plant is the plant that is selling the most of, right? So we're happy to get those out of the greenhouse. But if you've watched us enough, you will know that I particularly really like the annuals and the color, and I love also shrubs that produce lots of big flowers like hydrangeas and whatnot. So today we're just going to spend a few minutes in different areas of some things that are going on and thinking about those things, and maybe like a top 5 type of situation, but not really. It's just really 5 really cool annuals that I'm thinking about. But just think about it. This entire table full of pink cashmere when you walk in the greenhouse. That is one of my favorite annuals, I think, because it is very vigorous grower in the landscape, and you could fill it up. You could fill this entire table up full of pink cashmere, and I think it would sell very quickly in the early spring. It is selling very fast right now online on the website. It's probably one of the top sellers currently in annual category, and probably overall, and it's because it is white and pink, and it's gorgeous, and it's vigorous, and it's a low grower, and it's one of those verbenas that can really make it through some of the heat and stress here in the South. There's a lot of those annual verbenas on the market that just cannot take the heat and humidity once we get to summertime, and that guy can really rock and roll all the way through it. We do keep up with our regular fertilizing on that guy. We're using that Proven Winners liquid feed fertilizer, which has the chelated iron already loaded up in there for you to keep your foliage nice dark and green. It keeps those branches growing, so because all those flowers grow on all those different types of branches and everything. So that's one, pink cashmere. So you can imagine that thing in here, and everybody coming in, and it's in full bloom come this spring, and taking those home and filling up our beds. I know I talked to some customers who were closing in December, and there were some folks that they still had pink cashmere thriving in the garden. Okay, so that shows you just how strong that one is. That's one that you can purchase as an annual, and you can pick, for sure, if you take care of it and prepare your soil, because that's very key, right? That you can have it from now or spring, whenever that is for you, all the way to the end of the season. So we're going to walk down here to the Signature Garden right quick and just show you some things that's been going on down there and talk about some more plants. Okay guys, we're over here at the entrance of the Signature Garden. Right behind me is, or in front of me is the parking. This is the entrance. This is a big spot for color, and one of the biggest ones that can produce, once again, a lot of pink color is bubblegum. That is the #1 selling petunia for Proven Winners. It's probably the #1 selling petunia online, but I would like to really spend some more time on that, because there's a couple of more I know that are right along with bubblegum. But could you imagine bubblegum just filling up both of these beds, really hot pink, just growing vigorously, filling up in the entire beds in front of the sprinter boxwoods. And one of our favorite hydrangeas that comes up in behind it is still peeking up there is Little Lime Punch, okay? And you know that's Jenny's favorite. It's one of my favorite because it's strong, big flowers holding on all season. Here it is, January, and they still have very strong stems and holding up their brown flowers right now. But this is the entrance to the signature garden. We have worked on this quite a bit this year with our returf, so we had to do some renovations in here. We decided, we did talk about this, there was a big debate, are we going to keep the grass here, or we're going to take it out? So as you can see, it is nice, green, and lush, and we're keeping it. But I'm going to show you a little bit of an issue that we've got going on, and I think I have figured this out. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots in this garden where the grass, if you can take a look down here with the camera, you can see it's just a little yellow. We added some topsoil and different things and we got the grass growing, but for whatever reason in these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different spots, it is turning yellow, and where Megan is standing with the camera right now, it is really dark green and lush. But it's the spot that does not get any water from the sprinklers. So this particular spot, I believe, is getting water from 3 sprinklers. So what's happening is that it is leaching its nutrients out. So we need to hit it with some slow release fertilizer or some iron, or just the regular green up type of fertilizers that are on the market, and in these 4 or 5 spots, and I think that will fix our issue. We're now, we're in winter now finally. We'll probably hit it up pretty good right before we come out of winter, and all these spots should green up. But one of the tips I think I'm going to do, and you can think about if you have spots like that in your yard, is these rotary sprinklers have adjustments on them, and you can change the radius from. So what I'm going to do is ask each ones on the corners to go out further instead of I think it's a 90 degree I'm doing right now, or a 45. I think it's a 45 is what I'm doing. So it's not taking long before it comes back around and giving more water here along with the one in the center. Okay, so bubblegum, pink cashmere, I mean, that's 2 strong annuals from Proven Winners that I think you should need in your garden. So we kind of came into the signature garden just a little bit and thinking about a couple of more annuals I think you need to add them to your list. They're some of my favorite. They grow, and as a grower, these are all grow really easy, and I enjoy growing them, so I know my customers are going to enjoy them when they get home. One of those is Play in the Blues salvia. I mean, could you imagine these? This is not what's going in these beds. Jenny has a whole different plan that she's going to go over with later. But could you imagine these 4 exterior beds around the fountain are full of Play in the Blues salvias. Silvery green leaf, strong flowering plant. Cut it back, it reflowers. It's there to the very end. Kind of a repetitious pattern here, right? We got annuals that we're putting in the spring, we're lasting into the fall and into right before our first frost. But anyway, blue, green, silvery foliage, nice blue, big flowers, probably about yay tall, 3 feet, 4 feet tall in the garden. Here, that particular salvia comes back for us every year, so it's a perennial. It is some of our best salvias that we like growing, that have that tall look to them, because they flower consistently throughout the season. That is one that I would be grabbing. That is one that will sell out. That is one that we will have a hard time getting once that product is gone. And behind me is the fountain, and you can imagine, we have the pink bubblegum up front. Play in the Blues salvia, just full. We're just going to use 4 plants. Jenny's probably going to use 20, okay? But we're just going to use 4 in this imaginary garden right now. bubblegum, play in the blue salvia, mini vista white. Now I'm going to use Jenny's favorite petunia, mini vista white, around the fountain. Big, bold, white color, big pop of white right there in the center of the bed, surrounded by all the blue and the hot pink in the front. I mean, wow. I mean, you couldn't get any classier than that, right? I mean, that's a lot of color, you know? So I'm tapering it down using the white. But Mini Vista White is one of the better petunias on the market in the Mini Vista category, right? So what's the difference? Vista bubblegum, Mini Vista White, Mini Vista Indigo, you know, what's the deal? You know, right? Jazzberry, Vista Jazzberry. What is the difference? Landscape, vigorous, big, Vista. Mini Vista, lots of smaller flowers. Can use them in containers, can use them in the landscape. Versatile plant, right? So we really enjoy using Mini Vista White. So I know one of the other plants, and we're going to go over here in just a second and talk about the exterior part of this garden, and then we'll talk about number 5 here in a second. All right, guys, we're a little deeper into the garden, thinking about the 5th annual that we could add. We've finally got this area. We loaded up some camellias in here. You saw Jenny and I plant the Incredibles. They're nice and brown sticks now. I mean, that's another one that's a favorite hydrangea of mine, is Incredible. Really 4 or 5 feet tall, you know, 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. We did a double row. This is a trick. Come over here and let's take a look at it. Because, you know, everybody sees that. If you've seen that picture from Spring Meadow, the Proven Winners, the big, huge hedge, the famous Incredible hedge, and then you look at it and then everybody tries to replicate it. But what they don't realize is that thing's double pane in there. Window pane, so that's what we've done. So we've got them really close together, and there's a double row, and there's a hydrangea in behind or in front of each one. So it makes, hopefully, will all grow together and make one massive hedge of Incredible white hydrangea. And to my right, maybe your left, right, we're going to add Mini Me Chartreuse. I don't know what Jenny's going to do, but I'm going to add Chartreuse, Mini Me Chartreuse coleus. Another plant. This is the 5th one, folks. The 5th one that's going to last from planting. Now we're going to plant this one a little bit later in the spring once we get past any kind of threat of frost or freeze, because, you know, coleus, it was not going to like that at all. So we did have this in the garden last year, and the reason I bring it up is it brought up many customers' attention when they were standing all the way back over in the pines, looking all the way back this way, and this glowing chartreuse color off in the distance. And it got, so if you're in your neighborhood and you want to add something to get everyone's attention, you know, maybe you don't want anybody paying attention to your garden, but you wanted to just kind of make your yard look really pretty and showy, I would think about Mini Me Chartreuse coleus. No flowers, bright colored foliage. It's going to be there to the end. No mess. You can pinch it back. Don't be scared. Pinch it back. It's going to refoliate right back out, thicken up. You can do that once or twice throughout the season. Plant it early and it's there to the end. But we're probably are going to plant this over here, but you can see these vast areas, you know, off my right over here. And these are different areas that we could plant those colors, and that would really pop out. The pond. Let's talk about the pond for a second. I was scrolling through some videos, and we, you know, teased everybody, not on purpose, but we're talking about this pond renovation, which we're going to hold off for a while. But we have been planting, you know, throughout the season. You may have missed some of those videos. We planted all these new trees, maple trees in there, dogwoods in there. So we're really looking forward to that. And off to my left, way off in the distance, is a Kwanzaa cherry tree. So you can imagine all those colors kind of popping in during the spring. So come on over. Just want to get a look at the pond during the winter season. It's got a nice natural blue clear look to it right now. So we really enjoy that. The head of this pond is a spring, natural fed spring coming up out of the ground, and it just naturally feeds itself. We have a pipe here that overflows and takes the water out. But I could see someday maybe adding some waterfalls in there. But like right now, we have so many leaves on the ground, you know, and I would just like, man, you know, that has been a lot of maintenance to try to keep all that stuff out of that waterfall and pond. I mean, the pond just kind of does it naturally, but you know, if you got filters and whatnot, it's just a lot of maintenance. Somebody might have to train me up or convince me of otherwise of that. But we've done 5. What are those 5 again? Bubblegum, pink cashmere, play in the blue salvia, right? And Jenny's favorite, Mini Vista petunia white, and then the chartreuse, the Mini chartreuse coleus. Those are 5. Why not do 6? Why not do 6? I mean, why not we just go ahead and add in Senorita Roselita, Cleome, right? Why not? Everybody does 5. We're doing 6 today. So you can imagine somewhere in this garden, like I know we did, but let's pretend that Glitters and Glows is not here, because Glitters and Glows is starting to get big. It's a wonderful shrub, a deciduous viburnum with berries that come out and then turn blue, and it's really gorgeous, and it makes a nice hedge for us and as a backdrop. If you did not have that, Senorita Roselita would be a wonderful hedge for you. It's a wonderful, it was like, I think, landscape plant of the year for pre-winters last year, rightly so. It produces a ton of color, and it is a very overlooked annual, and it's starting not to be because we've talked about it so much. Both of the Cleomes, Blanca and Roselita, are performing really well online, and those are another ones that will sell out really quick. But just a whole hedge right there, plant it, leave it, walk away, you prep your soil, plant it with the biotone fertilizer, water it in really well, maybe watch it for the next 2 or 3 weeks after you get it planted. And we had it growing off to my right where the Incrediballs were for the last 2 years. There is no irrigation there, and they just rock it out every single year. So that's a good one for you to add to your annual planting list, because it's time. We've got to really start thinking about getting those things together, because the more, hopefully the more orders and pre-orders that we get, we can kind of make more planning and more orders so that other folks can then have a chance. But everybody's placing orders, everybody's ordering right now, so things are going to start rolling out of here. But anyway, just wanted to take a few minutes this morning to kind of tell you about the things that are going on in the garden, in the greenhouse with the pressure washing. And we do that not just to get the dirt out, we do that to then get rid of those insects that are hanging out in there. They've laid some eggs, I guarantee it. You know, that greenhouse has a lot of saw cuts in it, you know, from when they poured, and eggs like to hang out in there. It's a great place for spider mite eggs. But you're running pressure water, there's no need for anything else to take those out. Yet pressure water just goes right through there and blast all those insect eggs right out of those crevices and those different places in there. We've got, you know, we use a lot of center blocks and different things in there, so that provides shade underneath those planks, and we get some algae kind of growing in there, so we like to pressure wash that out every single year. The retail greenhouse is a little different than the growing. It's all flat. It's really easy to just clean with a surface cleaner. I have to do the surface cleaner in there and come back with my wand, like what you were seeing. My final spray out, where I'm just kind of washing out all the debris. I had already gone through there with the wand before Megan came down with the camera. So anyway, we hope you have a wonderful new year. We hope you have a wonderful planting season for your garden. We hope that your spring is beautiful. We sure are looking forward to it in 2026. Okay, we'll catch you next time. Bye.